think, I still think this bull run is going to be one of the greatest bull runs in the history of assets. Bitcoin included, but not like the greatest Bitcoin bull run ever. It might not, but a normal Bitcoin bull run, which to me puts Bitcoin at 250,000 to $1 million at some point next year. I've been saying that on the media. I've been telling everyone, end of 2024, I was guessing around 100,000, 2025, 250,000 to $1 million. So far, I've been pretty accurate. Listen, Bitcoin will go up forever because it's the hardest thing you can own. And hard is in reference to how hard it is to make more of it. Bitcoin is the only asset in the history of our species where no amount of demand can create more supply.
Jack Mallers emphasizes that a bear market is a backward complement. It only happens because Bitcoin experiences some of the greatest bull runs in financial history. To him, the current bull run isn't just significant. It's setting the stage for Bitcoin to potentially reach valuations between $250,000 and $1 million by the end of 2024 or early 2025. He sees this as a natural progression in Bitcoin's maturity as a global asset. According to Mallers, the ongoing currency debasement will lead to a dramatic appreciation of Bitcoin's value in dollar terms. He predicts that Bitcoin could touch $1 million briefly before correcting to levels around $250,000.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
I do think we see a bear market, if that's what you're asking. I absolutely do. But think of it this way, guys. A bear market implies an extreme bull market. Like, let me put it to you this way. If we're at the all-time high right now of like 98,000 or whatever, then no, I don't think we see an 80% drop. An 80% drop, people forget the context. Like, it's an 80% drop from something astronomically high. Like when I got into Bitcoin, we were buying Bitcoin below $100. Bitcoin went to $1,200 and then came all the way down to $250. It was an 80% drop from 1,200, but going from below 100 to 1,200 in like a year was insanely high, right? So I guess, yes, I expect a bear market because I expect one of the greatest asset bull markets in the history of markets. Does that make sense? So it's like a backwards complement. Yes, there will be a bear market, but only because there will be such a big bull market. So if Bitcoin doesn't have any more bear markets, we've either reached hyper Bitcoinization or it isn't appreciating as much as I thought it would. So that's my opinion. And I still think this bull run is going to be one of the greatest bull runs in the history of assets. Bitcoin included, but not like the greatest Bitcoin bull run ever. It might not. But a normal Bitcoin bull run, which to me puts Bitcoin at 250,000 to $1 million at some point next year. I've been saying that on the media. I've been telling everyone, end of 2024, I was guessing around 100,000, 2025, 250,000 to $1 million. So far, I've been pretty accurate, but I think all assets. I think, we're living in an era of currency debasement, of weaker dollar. There's a lot of losses that need to be realized all over the world. I'm not talking specifically America. Like China is in one of the biggest bubbles in the history of humanity in the real estate bubble there. So that's my opinion. And I think Bitcoin could very easily like touch $1 million briefly and then crash all the way down to 250,000. And that would technically be like a 75%, 80% drawdown. But again, it's from $1 million, not from 90,000. Like, is Bitcoin going to drop 80%? Probably from its all-time high. But like Steph Curry put up 62 one night, Bitcoin might hit $1 million, like briefly, or 700,000 or something, right? Like when I got involved in Bitcoin, it was at below $100. Then it went all the way to 1,200. Then it went down to 250. Then it went all the way to 20,000. Then it went down to 3,000. Then it went all the way to 70,000. Then it went down to, what was it? 17,000. Then it's gone all the way up to 100,000. I think it'll go all the way up to 700,000. It'll come down to 200,000. So context is important. Like Steph Curry's average is down over 50% from its all-time highs, and he's one of the greatest players ever. So that just means he had a very high all-time high. Listen, Bitcoin will go up forever because it's the hardest thing you can own. And hard is in reference to how hard it is to make more of it. Bitcoin is the only asset in the history of our species where no amount of demand can create more supply. If everyone in the world wants a Bitcoin, it doesn't matter who wants it, how many people want it, what government wants it. We cannot create more Bitcoins, period. That makes Bitcoin the hardest money because it's the hardest to make more of. In fact, it's the only money where it's impossible to make more of it. For that reason, it will go up against everything else because you can make more units of everything else. It will go up against dollars because they make more dollars, which debases the value of the dollar, which appreciates Bitcoin's value in dollars. It will go up against housing because they build more houses, which debases the value of housing, which makes Bitcoin more valuable when priced in houses. It will go up against groceries because they can make more food, which will debase the value of food, which makes Bitcoin more valuable in food terms, right? And by the way, all these other things being quote unquote debased isn't a bad thing. It'd be great if housing was cheaper. It'd be great if eggs were cheaper. The thing that you don't want to be debased and devalued is your money, is your time, your energy, your effort, your labor. The thing that you work and store your life in and protect your future against. And so that is what we all want in society, is we want one market good that we acquire not to consume it, not to eat it, not to type on it, not to live in it, not to transport with it, but to store it and exchange it later. That's the one market good that we call money. We want the money to be undebasable, uninflatable. And that's what Bitcoin is. And everything else will go down against that because as humans, we innovate. We're making food more accessible. We're making information more accessible, education more accessible, transportation more accessible. You can have a private driver now take you from point A to point B on an app called Uber. And so Bitcoin also allows you to be long humanity. Whereas if you store your wealth in Bitcoin, you're able to benefit from all the innovation that humans around you are producing. Because we theoretically, the more we advance, we're making things more accessible and cheaper. And that's only true if you're storing your money in something that can't be debased along with it. So Bitcoin should go up against everything. And at the end of all of this, we'll have Bitcoin and then the assets that we use only for utility. There won't be a world where someone owns 5 homes. You'll own the house you live in, and then all the other wealth that you need to store will be in Bitcoin. There's no reason to own 5 homes. Groceries will be affordable. Gas will be affordable. That's the vision I have.
Mallers touches on another critical aspect of Bitcoin's design, its susceptibility to supply shocks. With only 21 million coins ever available, Bitcoin is perpetually on the verge of a supply shortage. As demand increases, whether from retail investors, institutions, or governments, the fixed supply creates upward price pressure. This dynamic is unique to Bitcoin and ensures its long-term value appreciation. However, Mallers tempers his enthusiasm with a dose of realism. He acknowledges that psychological price levels, like $100,000, could act as temporary resistance points, as human emotions and market psychology play a significant role in trading behavior. He explains that markets are made up of humans, and humans are inherently emotional. Round numbers like $100,000 are psychologically significant and may attract sellers looking to take profits.
I think, listen, on net, Bitcoin's always on the verge of a supply shock. I mean, it's the only true scarcity in the history of mankind. It is the scarcest asset ever. It is the only thing where no amount of demand can create more supply. So Bitcoin historically is always on the verge of a supply shock. Now, are you asking me to speculate on the immediate near term, which I can do? The reality is nobody knows. I can make price predictions because they're fun and because people like that. But the reality is nobody knows. The other reality is it doesn't matter. If you zoom out high enough, Bitcoin goes up forever against everything else because it's a lot easier to make more units of everything else except Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's going to appreciate against housing because we create more houses than we do Bitcoins. Bitcoin's going to appreciate even more against eggs because we create more eggs than we do houses than we do Bitcoins. And Bitcoin's going to appreciate even more against dollars because we create more dollars than we do eggs than we do houses than we do Bitcoins. So it doesn't matter. No one knows, and it doesn't matter. More realistically, I think 100K is going to be difficult. I do. I don't know who exactly is selling, but I think it's a big psychological number. I think there's a lot, it attracts a lot of sellers. Listen, markets are made up of humans. Humans are comprised of complicated emotions. If you were ever going to sell Bitcoin, let's consider yourself an early adopter. And you would say, if Bitcoin, takes off, I'm going to take some off the table, get myself a boat or a house or pay off debt or take care of my mom or whatever that is for you. What price are you going to do that at? Now, not every single person is going to pick the same price, but pretty much the majority are picking 100K. Again, because it's psychological. Markets like round numbers because human emotion is pretty standard. Like, people get confused by markets as if they're robotic, and they forget that markets are backed by humans, and humans are not robots, and they're complicated, and emotions get involved, and round numbers are attractive. If I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna take I'm gonna take some profits off the table, 100K is a big number and a number that people are placing sell orders at. So I don't think there's any manipulation going on. I don't think there's any tomfoolery. I do think that Bitcoin will enter price discovery and there will be a supply shock. But it just doesn't surprise me that $100,000 is more difficult than $99,000. It doesn't surprise me at all. Bitcoin is a free market now. There may be concerns for individual companies. Maybe certain companies have a tough time processing Bitcoin orders and payments and so on and so forth. But Bitcoin itself is a distributed protocol. There's no concerns on Bitcoin whatsoever. Bitcoin, there's never going to be any more than 21 million. There's going to be a block around every 10 minutes. And it's the fact that we can rely on that is what makes Bitcoin of value, in my opinion. So no, zero concerns whatsoever.
For Mallers, Bitcoin's short-term price movements are irrelevant when viewed through a long-term lens. He asserts that Bitcoin will go up forever when measured against other assets because it's easier to produce more houses, cars, or even fiat currencies than it is to create more Bitcoin. This long-term appreciation makes Bitcoin an unparalleled store of value, allowing individuals to benefit from economic progress without losing purchasing power. Mallers concludes by reaffirming his confidence in Bitcoin's protocol. He emphasizes that Bitcoin's decentralized design ensures its reliability and resilience. There will never be more than 21 million coins, and blocks will continue to be mined every 10 minutes. This predictability is what gives Bitcoin its enduring value, making it a cornerstone of the financial future.
Please like and subscribe my channel.